Scanning. Identity authorized. Welcome to the Secret Superhero Club Podcast Network.
Welcome everybody to the Animation Station Podcast. My name is Josh.
And my name is Ashley.
And today we're joined by our good friends from the Cloud. No, that's not what they're called. From the Cloud. No, it's still not the Cloud City Cast. They changed their name for whatever reason. I kind of personally like the old one better, but then they changed it to something with an H in it. So our friends Liam and Brittany from HYLT Radio.
Hola.
Hello. Honestly, we changed it just to confuse you and mostly to annoy you as well.
Exactly.
It sounds like we succeeded on both fronts.
We're like, wait, Josh really loves Cloud City Cast, and he was probably the only one with the feedback that was like, don't change, don't do it. Everybody else was like, yeah, do it. But Josh said no, and we're like, now we have to.
Yeah, that was the deciding factor right there.
Did you just say Cloud City Cats?
Cloud City Cats.
Sounded like you said Cloud City Cats.
Well, yeah, it's a Broadway. It's a musical.
Yeah, well, we are big fans of Christina Sakura, so, we had to make sure we threw some cats in there.
Ah, beautiful. I want to do like a Podcats episode, so maybe we should get together and do a Podcats episode where we just talk about cats.
Oh, gosh. Liam would not be a fan.
Yeah, no. Not even a little bit. It'd be hard. It's going to be a no for me, dog.
Jeez. All right, mouse. So today's episode, we're going to be giving you a nice spoiler-filled episode on Ralph Breaks the Internet, the newest Disney thingamawhopper movie from the Disney thingamawhopper pantheon. But first, let's take it to the news. Ashley, what do you got?
Okay, well, let's see. We got the live-action Lion King trailer that just released on Thanksgiving Day. Wow, that was amazing. Pretty much cried.
It was something all right.
Oh, Josh, you're not happy about it? I know Lion King's like your fave.
I mean, yeah, but I watched it and I'm just like, are their mouths gonna move? Is it gonna look like snow buddies? I don't know how this is gonna work. Is it gonna look like... Have you guys seen the trailer for Mowgli on Netflix? Is it gonna look like that?
Well, it's by the same director of Jungle Book, so it's probably gonna be like what it was in that movie. Whatever, you can't rain on my parade. I am hyped for this.
I mean, sure. I mean, we already had one animated Lion King. Why not another animated Lion King?
Well, I mean, isn't that kind of like the toss-up, right? Like I saw, who was it? Somebody I follow on Twitter had posted one of those polls and was like, the new Lion King movie, animated or live action, and like people could kind of argue their point as to like whether they thought it was one way or another. And some people were saying like, oh well, it's animated because it's all CGI, and he's like, well, they are using like live backgrounds and whatnot. So if it's all considered, if CGI is just considered animated, is Thanos animated, right? Is most of the DCEU is it all animated? Was Superman animated? So it's like, where do you draw the line from something being considered a live action film versus something being an animated film? For myself, I don't really care one way or the other. Like, it looks good visually, it looks stunning. Whether you want to call it live action or CGI or animated or a musical, or honestly, it doesn't matter to me. Like, does the movie look good? Do we really have to identify exactly what it is? No, just look at it and say, hey, will I buy a ticket for it? Probably, because it's Disney. Will I enjoy it? Probably. It's Disney. Is Lion King my least favorite of the Renaissance? Yeah. Absolutely. So, but I'll still enjoy the movie.
Well,
actually, no. I think
you've been wrong.
Hunchback might be the worst in the
But the music is
Renaissance.
amazing.
You like the music?
Hunchback wasn't a part of the Renaissance.
Yeah, it was.
Yes, it was.
It's mid-Renaissance.
Yep.
It's 90.
Yeah.
Anything from Ariel to 99 with Tarzan is Renaissance.
Yeah, that's the Disney Renaissance. And Hunchback falls like dead center. That's like right in the middle of everything, isn't it?
Or no, maybe 97?
No, 97 was Hercules.
Hercules was 97?
Yeah.
Before or after Hercules?
No, it was before. I think it was before
Before.
Hercules because you had Hercules and then Mulan and then Tarzan. So if you walk your way back,
was it Lion King and then Hunchback?
Lion King, then Pocahontas, then Hunchback,
Pocahontas, then Hunchback. Okay.
then Hercules, then Mulan, then because Mulan was 98 and then 99. The only year that they skipped between 89 and 99 was 93 because that was Nightmare Before Christmas and Hocus Pocus, to be honest with you, but obviously it wasn't animated. But yeah, so that's your stretch of Renaissance films. Interestingly enough, though, Rescuers Down Under does not count as Renaissance.
Right.
I finally saw the Dumbo trailer because I had paid to see the Dumbo trailer because it was in
Part
the
of the
trailers for
Wreck-It
this
Ralph.
movie.
Yeah.
And that I would consider a live action adaptation only because it's completely different.
Well, that
Like,
and you've got
we've got-
actual
Well,
and 'cause
humans.
We've
There's
got these
live
because it's Tim
humans.
Burton. We have these two sad-looking children whose father is Colin Farrell, so they should be sad. Who has also lost an arm or part of an arm? I don't know.
For some points in the trailer,
Yes,
other
yeah.
points he has two arms.
So we are
Brittany
gonna,
pointed
I
this
know,
out.
we're
that's
gonna
really
see
bizarre.
him lose the arm.
So
Way to
yeah,
go,
so we have
Tim
that.
Burton making
and-
Disney dark
so,
again.
Like it's different enough, but then just when I saw the Lion King trailer, I'm just like, I mean,
Well, here's
I
the
guess.
thing. For Disney fans, you're going to have so many different groups where you have obsessed fans of the animation that are not okay with them redoing them in live action, which is okay. You can like what you like. You don't have to like the new stuff. Or you have the fans where kind of they're in the middle where they will like both because they're just a fan of anything Disney throws out. And then you have the fans, who will probably, this is probably rare, but will like the live action more than they like the animated because
Oh, that will
maybe they
happen.
weren't, and, the animated fans. So Disney has a market, they're going to bring in so many ticket, goers for this movie alone, whether there was an old version of it or not. Like, they are going to make bank on this film because it is Lion King. And people who are not happy with it are going to buy a ticket and still go watch it because that's what people do. And that's where I think you need to draw your line. If you're not happy with it happening, don't purchase a ticket to go see it, because I think one of our listeners and a good friend of the show, D Geekster, has it right. He will not go see these movies or buy anything for them because he is so invested and in love with the animated ones that he's like, well, I'm not going to put my money towards it because if I, put my money towards it, then they're just going to keep doing it, which is so true. So it's kind of like you got to choose a side or just enjoy what, if you're going to spend your money on it, enjoy it. Just why would you spend your money on something you're going to hate? So that's the way I look at it. To me, it's Disney. Anything Disney they're going to throw at me, I'm going to see because I thoroughly enjoy it. And I really do love the remakes because I think they haven't, so far they haven't done anything wrong yet. I enjoy Beauty and the Beast, and that was kind of a spot for spot of animated to live action.
Yeah.
This one honestly looks like they're going for that same thing, but I also enjoyed Maleficent, where that's a completely new story, and I'm okay with whichever direction they want to go in. Make it different, make it new, or make it exactly the same. I'm still going to give you my money, Disney. Thanks.
Right.
My opinions.
Oh, did anybody want to follow that?
No, I think
No.
she kind of hit it on the head. It's one of those. I think it's an instance where you have people that are going to be divisive, right? Like with any movie, with any reboot, with any sequel, with any remake, whatever, what have you. I mean, there was a bunch of tweets the other day, people talking about a reboot of Back to the Future.
Oh, I
Right?
didn't see that.
Yeah, so it's like, look, I mean, people will have opinions, and opinions are like belly buttons. Everybody has one. So
And the original always exists, so you're always gonna love it. I would imagine more.
Yeah.
You're always gonna have that nostalgia to it. It doesn't change the childhood. So no matter what we like to say,
you're ruining my childhood.
It's still there. It can't ruin the childhood. It happened. But I don't know. But just numbers wise, 224.6 million views for this trailer, and that's second now to Avengers Infinity War, which had 238 million views. So it's the second most viewed trailer in a single day. So I think people are pretty stoked for the live action Lion King.
I mean, yeah, like, more power to him. Like, if you want to go see it, I'm not going to, poo-poo on your parade. I'm not going to talk bad about it. But for me, I'm just like, I don't care to see any of these live-action remakes. Like, to me, like, the same thing with, like, I like my superheroes, like, not to be real. So, like, I like my stuff to be, like, animated, because you can do a lot more with that. That's why I like the animated stuff way more than the live action stuff.
It makes sense. I mean, you do a show called Animation Station. I'd imagine you love animation more than live action. I get your opinion. I totally do. It's just one of those, don't put your money towards it, if you know you're going to hate it.
Exactly, yeah. And it's one of those, like, I'll probably end up seeing it for the show just because, like, I see stuff I don't want to see for this show anyway. Mm-hmm. And sometimes it surprises me.
You got to talk about it.
And then sometimes it doesn't.
Which we might figure out with Ralph Breaks the Internet. I mean, I don't know your opinions on it yet.
I think you may be surprised.
I'm kind of worried here.
No, I think you may be surprised with Josh's opinion on this
one. And my opinion, probably.
Yeah, so... so we got that one. We also got Detective Pikachu, which... Yeah. Came out after our last episode. So we got Detective Pikachu as well. And good Lord Almighty, I don't know what I was expecting with that film. But then I saw this and I'm like, all right. I get what you're going for and I'm there. I'm digging it.
All I can say is, and I saw a post of this on Tumblr, I'm like, let Pikachu say the F word. That's all I'm going to say.
Oh, he needs to. He needs to.
But then again, isn't this PG, what is this, PG-13?
That you can get away with it twice in a PG-13 movie.
Oh.
Yeah. I thought it was once. Because
it used to be once. It used to be once. It's now twice.
Because in X-Men First Class, that got away with it the one time where Magneto and Professor X go to see Wolverine, and he goes, go F yourselves. And that was the one they could get away with. So, yeah, unless they have changed it. Which, to be fair, I mean, Wreck-It Ralph was marked PG-13, and I didn't hear any F-words in that one, so.
Yet.
Yeah.
Yet.
Yeah,
wait for the director's cut.
I was going to say, I'm waiting for the Deadpool cut, so.
Oh my gosh.
I also saw a trailer for the Deadpool, and I'm like,
Once Upon a Deadpool?
Yeah. I'll go see this movie. It looks like they're adding just enough stuff to make it good.
Well, I mean, what they're adding is just him hanging out with frickin' Fred Savage.
Well, no, they've added, from the preview, they're adding a lot of stuff in here. Like, there's scenes that are being added into this movie.
But I don't think it's added. I think they're replacing scenes. So there's certain scenes that wouldn't get past MPAA, so they obviously had to reinsert something else that was basically going to be a placeholder for what we had seen previously. So I don't think it's going to be like a whole new movie, but I don't think
it's not
the
going to be
added
a whole new
scenes.
Movie, but I think what they're adding is going to make it exciting enough to where you'll be like, okay, yeah, I'm not going to go and see the same exact thing that I had already seen, except cut down.
Right,
but that's something new.
But that's what I think it is. It's not so much adding scenes as they're replacing scenes. So, like, they had to obviously cut things out to get down to that PG-13 rating.
But if you're replacing a scene, what are you replacing it with? You're replacing it with something that you added. So they're adding scenes to the movie. I'm not saying they're going to add a fight scene, but they're going to add a scene to the movie that is going to be something that we've never seen before.
Right. No, I think we're arguing semantics.
We're saying the same thing.
You're saying they're adding scenes, and I'm agreeing they're adding scenes, but I'm saying they're taking away scenes to make room for the added scenes, and you're saying yes, they're adding scenes, and I'm saying yes, I get that they're adding scenes because they're replacing scenes they're taking out, and you're going, well, they're not adding a fight scene. So it's
Liam,
basically we're saying the same thing.
That they're adding scenes,
and then the seagull came and said this was this and that was that. OMG. You guys.
Jeebus. And then I know in anime news, I'm pretty sure Ashley's pretty stoked for this. I know Hannah's pretty stoked for this. But our good friends over at Funimation, speaking of Funimation, this episode is brought to you by Funimation. Use the code in the description to get 2 weeks of free anime. That's 14 days of free anime. Then after that, it's only $5.99 a month. That's right. $5.99.
What a
for
bargain!
Subbed and dubbed anime. Exactly. Do you like My Hero Academia? Do you like Cowboy Bebop? Do you like Outlaw Star? Well, if you do, we got it. They technically they have it. We don't actually have it. But yeah, you can watch it there. 2 weeks free. Do you know how much anime you can watch in 2 weeks? At least, like, a lot. So, yeah. Again, click that link in our description. Just click the show notes. You'll see the link. Exactly. So just like binge it. So like Netflix. Commercial-free anime.
So what's Funimation releasing?
Funimation has announced that they were going to be doing the new... Well, it's kind of like what Full Metal Alchemist did. It's because we had the first season of the first series of Full Metal Alchemist, and then it caught up to the manga, and they were like, poo. So we can't do any more, everything else. And then that first season of Full Metal Alchemist, or that first series, becomes a complete train wreck.
So then anyway, Fruits Basket is getting a reboot.
I was getting there. What the heck? So yeah, we have Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, and it goes off the manga. Go back in time, we had Fruits Basket, which Fruits Basket kind of had the exact same thing. They caught up to the manga, and they were like, poop, we have to stop here. And so they stopped. And then we didn't get any more Fruits Basket. And now, years later, after Fruits Basket, the manga is fully done, they're redoing Fruits Basket, and we're going to get all of Fruits Basket, the manga version of Fruits Basket. It's almost like the Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood version. So we're going to get everything based off the manga. And that is going to be coming in 2019.
Is Fruit Baskets any good?
Oh, yes, definitely.
Yes.
Like
it is one of Clamp's like clampiest clamps, right?
No, it's not Clamp.
It's not Clamp? You're right. No. That's
could have been, but
that's Card Captor. I'm thinking Card Captor.
Actually, yep. Fruits Basket, like, it's a very important anime to me because it actually brought me back into the world of anime. So
it's
like,
about
it
the
brought
Chinese
me back
zodiac.
Into, like,
so what was it about it that like drew you back in? Like, if you were an anime fan back in the day and then watching this was what kind of drew you in, what was it? Was it like the nostalgia aspect? Was it reminiscent of an anime you remembered as a kid?
Everybody sit down. It's story time with Auntie Ashley.
Well, it's just the story. Like, I grew up like watching Toonami, like Tenchi Muyo and Sailor Moon. But then when they were taken off Toonami, I was like, well, I guess I'll just not like anime anymore. So when I was a senior in high school, my friends online like just showed me just Fruits Basket. It's like, hey, watch this anime. And I was like, well, I like anime, so I guess I'll just watch it. And it was just the characters. Like, the characters are so colorful. They all have different personalities, and the fact that they turn into different animals. Like, I thought it was very interesting, and the humor in it and the drama in it. Like, I was pretty shook when it got to the last few episodes with Kyo, and I was like, I didn't experience anything like this when watching anime back then. So it made a huge impact on me.
Nice.
And then from that day on, I just started to watch more anime, and it really changed my life.
Let's. I'm gonna give you some homework, Liam. Get yourself some Fruits Basket. Go watch yourself some delicious Fruits Basket. There's an episode with our young, I can't remember his name. Ashley will be able to help me. What's the bunny's name?
Momiji. There's an episode with Momiji that breaks me to this day. Oh God, no! We don't bring that
sad. Up. It is such a sad episode.
I always skip that one.
Oh, but it's so good.
It's so dark and so sad. Hattori's is pretty dark, too.
It is. But you know what would be a good time? So for all of our wonderful listeners and for Liam and Brittany as well, if you go to our link in the description, you can click on that one for Funimation because you can watch the first series of Fruits Basket streaming now on Funimation. So you can actually go, click it, and actually watch the original series. And then that way you're caught up and ready to go for when the new series starts.
Question: Does Funimation also have like where do they on their website? Can you read manga there too, or is it just streaming anime?
They just have streaming. Yeah, they don't have the manga. They're not Crunchyroll. They don't have that stuff.
Because I was going to say, I mean, check out the Fruits Basket manga too. It's just as good.
It's really good. There's a lamb and it's tiger, right? The tiger and the lamb. Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh, adorable.
Yeah, really cute.
So basically, this will sell it for Liam. It's there's a girl and her name is Toru, right? Is that her name? Is that how you say it?
Yeah, Toru Honda.
Toru Honda. She, unfortunately, orphan girl. It's like Disney. She's an orphan. Wanders in, and look, she's wandered into a group of hot guys. And whenever the hot guys touch her, they turn into animals. And then they become naked. Because that's the way it works.
Because Japan.
Because Japan. And there you go. That's what happens. And she falls in love with a guy that turns into a cat who is a ginger. Because, again, Japan. And that's what happens. And there's a mouse. And the mouse hates the rat. And there's a cow who has white and black hair. And one episode, he's getting picked on because this kid thinks that he's dyed his hair. So he takes him into the men's room and shows him that the curtains do in fact match the drapes. So that's what happens. Fruits Basket, everybody. It's an anime about the Chinese zodiac.
I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say this doesn't sound very good at all. So.
Oh no, it's fantastic. And there's a rabbit, and the rabbit will make you cry.
I feel like this is one of those animes that for like the first 6 episodes I play on my cell phone while it kind of just is background noise, and then right around episode 7 something vaguely interesting happens, and I go, man, I kind of wish I had paid attention, but don't really go back to pay attention and continue to play on my cell phone until it's done. And then when Josh says, "What did you think?" I quickly pull up Wikipedia and try to read the plot synopsis and go, yeah, man, it was pretty cool. I thought Kamichio was the best character. And you're like, they were in like 2 seconds. I go, yeah, but it was a powerful 2 seconds. And then I quickly change the subject to DC because I know I can get him to rant for easily the next 20 minutes.
Speaking of ranting and not actually watching the movie, but just going on and reading the Wikipedia, let's talk about Ralph Breaks the Internet.
Which I have it pulled up on the Wikipedia right now.
Conveniently, so do I.
Great minds think alike.
Well,
what can
actually,
I say?
any more news? You got any more news for us?
Okay, well, just really quickly, let's see. Disney Channel just released the first look at Dr. Draken and Shigo for the Kim Possible live-action film. They look really cool, so go check out on their social media. And let's see, Tangle the series just finished up animation for the 2nd season, so congratulations, Mercury Filmworks. You can actually go see their social media, and they recorded a special video of them just celebrating their wrap-up, so that's really cool. And finally, are you listeners going to be at Holiday Matsuri this year, which will be in less than a month in Orlando, Florida, December 14th to the 16th. I will be there. So please come find me, and I might give you a free button, an Animation Station button.
Nice.
And what else will you be doing there?
And and might possibly, I don't know, kind of break into Josh's Unlocked app and just kind of do some funny stuff on the profile. Maybe do a couple of live streams or something like that. I don't know. Maybe you'll get to see my real face.
That makes it sound ominous.
So that should be fun.
Yeah, it'll be fun. Yeah, so you're going to have full access. Might as well just give you the Instagram, too. You can have the Instagram and the Unlocked and the Twitter and just do it for the whole entire weekend. Just be yours.
All mine.
Oh, boy, oh, boy, oh, boy. Okay, so Ralph Breaks the Internet. So Ralph Breaks the Internet is the 2018 sequel to Disney's 2012 film, Wreck-It Ralph. So 6 years have passed. 6 long, long years since we heard AKB48 sing Sugar Rush. The pop Japanese idol group singing the fantastic Sugar Rush song. What?
You know what? That was one of the first bands that I ever found out have like a revolving door of members.
Yeah.
What was the group that was the Mickey's 90th?
I won't remember the many letters and numbers put together.
Yeah, it was another like three letters.
But it was
and
another
then,
K-pop group, right?
Yeah. But it's basically like they have different tiers, and you can like graduate from one group to like another group.
Yep.
And I thought that was kind of interesting. Like it just has like a model.
I assume they have like a battle within the bands.
Yeah.
To where they're like, hey, we're going to send you to America, and you're going to perform for Mickey's 90th. Who's got it?
But it's got to be like a manga style where like they completely do a
So
showdown.
then they bring out swords.
Yes. Well, it's the mic stands and the microphones and the cymbals, and they literally, well, none of them actually play instruments, so let's be real here. But
It's like Scott Pilgrim.
maybe they have a dance-off instead. I could totally see it being a dance-off.
Obviously.
Enough about K-pop and J-pop. Let's actually talk about this movie now. So, first off, we haven't done Wreck-It Ralph on the podcast before. What did you guys think of the first Wreck-It Ralph?
It was a movie. I mean, we watched it, and when it was over, we left and went home. I mean, it was something that has been seen.
And then to elaborate on what Liam is saying so kindly is, I don't know, we absolutely love Wreck-It Ralph. It's probably tops in this household for sure.
Well, and it's because it was so unexpected. I mean, I think for years afterwards, I kept assuming it was a Pixar film because of how good it was. But then it's like with this one, and then also with Big Hero 6, right, in 2014, because that was the last movie we saw before Remy was born. With both those movies, I think up until that point, Disney or Pixar kind of held like the Disney magic wand, right?
Right.
Where Pixar just had like hit after hit after hit, and then the Disney animation kind of went through that dark period. You had a couple of standouts like Emperor's New Groove and Lilo and Stitch, and then once they got back to like 2009 when they did Princess and the Frog, that one had that Renaissance era magic to it.
Last
and then,
bit of 2D animation.
That's right. And then 2010 was Tangled, which was totally bangerang. And then by 2012, when they did Ralph Breaks the Internet, like this just floored me. Like they had all the bits of nostalgia to catch the old grumpy people like me. And then they had all, enough new stuff that it was going to still resonate with people that were born in the late 80s or 90s or even in the 2000s. So I think it was the perfect blend. And I cried at the end when Ralph is being held over Diet Cola Mountain. Like his little free falling speech, and the fact that they didn't play the song Free Falling was totally a missed opportunity there. But I loved it. I remember walking out of that theater and just wanting to go right back in and watch it again. I loved it. B, what about you?
Oh, obviously agreed. I said it was tops in this household. It's the message that they sent. It was different than what we were used to, because you got to figure we were just coming out of Princess and the Frog and Tangled, so we got some princess movies there. And yes, no matter what they say about Vanellope and her being that little twist at the end, like ruler of Sugar Rush, there was not that same, this is a princess story.
Right.
This was very different. The animation was gorgeous, all the nostalgia in it, and just that message at the end, like you said.
And they had a good balance between like Ralph's story, Vanellope's story, Calhoun's story, and Felix's story. So it was like, even though it is Wreck-It Ralph, you felt like you were on a journey with all four of those characters. So I thought that they balanced that really, really well.
Agreed.
What about you guys? What was your thoughts, Ashley?
Well, I actually didn't go see Wreck-It Ralph in the theaters because
Yes.
Rise of the Guardians came out around the same time Wreck-It Ralph did, and I was more obsessed with that movie.
Is that the one with the owls?
Yeah.
No, wait,
Yeah.
No, that's Guardians of the Ghoul. Rise of the
Frost.
Guardians is the
It's the one with it's
Santa Claus
the
with
gender bent Elsa.
with, right? So was that the one Santa Claus had naughty
You
and
mean
nice tattoos?
Elsa's husband.
No,
Or
because
albino
Elsa,
Justin Bieber.
Yeah, I like that one. That's pretty.
Elsa likes the ladies,
Or
Josh.
K-pop Frosted Tips. Jack Frost.
Does she?
Anyway, I was more obsessed with that. But then I was like, oh yeah, that Wreck-It Ralph movie. And so when it came out on DVD, I was like, I'll give it a watch. And then I was like, why didn't I see this in the theater? Because I was more fascinated by the arcade world they created. Just like how the characters could just like teleport from one game to the other, like they can have access to the other games, and just the world that Disney created was so extraordinary and I'm very creative. I'm just sad that it didn't get an Oscar. Instead, Brave did. Just for the creativity that they did for the film. And I love the characters. I love Fix-It Felix. He's my favorite.
Nice.
And definitely have the hots for Calhoun.
Oh yeah.
Gosh.
even knowing it's Jane Lynch, and you're still like, doesn't matter. Calhoun's a BA. Like all her one-liners are like the greatest. Like her little insults, the things that she calls everybody is so freaking great.
Look at that high definition.
In your face.
What about you, Jash?
I saw it like opening weekend and haven't seen it again.
Oh, so sad for you.
It did nothing for me.
You are a heartless man.
Yeah,
Tough to crack,
it's
Josh.
one of those where I'm just like, yeah, I like video games and they're fun. I didn't get the nostalgia because I still play video games, so I don't have a nostalgia for video games because
Me
I still
either.
play them. So it's like I get no nostalgia for this. I mean, like I still play Galaga. I mean, I love playing. I have Galaga on my phone. Like, if I want to play Galaga, I'll play Galaga. I don't have this nostalgia for, like, freaking Cupid or something.
Well, it's
garbage
the
like
nostalgia
that.
of going
I
back
don't
to your
have this.
age when you first played it. That's
Right,
the
yeah, it's-
nostalgia, you silly goose.
You dummy. It's
we
not.
all
yeah.
play video games.
Right? It's not like we've only ever played Mario Brothers once in 1987 and then said, okay, well, that was a fun time. I'll never do this again. Like, yeah, everybody still plays video games, but it's the nostalgia for the experience. The first time you played Q*bert, the first time you played Galaga, the first time you played Sonic the Hedgehog, the first time that Tails was introduced, and you were like,
Hedgehog.
how have you never played Sonic the Hedgehog and claim that you play video games? Like, what are you, some sort of hermit?
Because I
Come on,
had
dude.
good video game systems. I never had a Sega.
Then you didn't have a good video game system, bro.
Yeah,
Sega
I
Genesis
have.
was
I had
the
a
greatest
frickin-
video
I had a
game
frickin-
system of
I had all
80s
the
and early
Nintendos
90s.
Growing up, I didn't have a good. Oh, do you think I would have had a frickin' screw it. No, I'm not getting into this with you, Liam.
A
See, you're trying to take me down
ColecoVision,
a dark
Atari
path.
2000, a
Take
Commodore
this. I did
64.
not have-
Take this to the text. You guys can kill each other there.
But that's what
Yeah,
I'm saying.
we'll do it like we
it's not just
normally do.
it's not just the nostalgia of like, oh well, I still play these video games. It's seeing those characters again and seeing them brought to life on an animated screen instead of 8-bit.
I've seen them being brought to life before. This is not the first time that you've ever seen Sonic. This is not the first time that you've ever seen any of these Street Fighter characters. This is not the first time that you've seen all of these things. They've been in popular culture before. I mean, not obviously the Fix-It Felix people because they're not real.
Okay, well then
So
we'll
it's
just
like,
say
some of these
done
people,
right.
You're just like,
Done
I guess.
right.
Well, I need that meme where it's like the point and it's flying over your head because you're missing it here, brother. So it's not that we haven't ever seen these characters before.
I mean, I've
this
grown
setting,
up with Sonic. I've seen Sonic since I was a wee lad. He's been on TV my entire life. I mean, I have zero nostalgia for Sonic because it's like, yeah, I've grown up with Sonic.
right?
Like, I know all
but
of
exactly
these
what
Sonic
Ashley
things.
was touching on is the fact that we're seeing these video game characters outside of the realm of where we are used to seeing them. Right? We're used to seeing
In a
Sonic,
video game?
Sonic
You're
on a
right.
track.
It's
On a
having
track,
people
collecting
in a video
rings,
game
running
in a
around like a
video
Looney
game movie
Tune,
is
or you've got
completely
Street Fighter
different
that they're
than on a
punching
video
each other in
game.
the
It makes
face,
no sense.
or you've got Tapper just throwing drinks. Like, no, we're seeing them
you're
in
right.
their
Oh my
own
gosh, Tapper
confined
throwing
world.
drinks. My gosh, I can die a happy man with Tapper throwing root beer.
Are we?
Lordy.
Why are we even reviewing this movie? Since obviously you hated the first one. Like, what positive things are you going to bring to the table in a sequel review?
Because I enjoyed the second one.
Wow, you would, of all people, you would enjoy the second one over the first one.
Yeah, right.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, Jiminy Jaminy.
So welcome, Ashley. This is your first time on an episode with Liam and Josh. This is what happens.
It's because Josh likes to be contentious for the sake of being contentious. He can't enjoy things that are actually happy or enjoyable because he's a Star Trek fan. So he's used to being miserable and alone and unhappy in all aspects of his life. So anytime you take something that's like, oh, here's all the characters that we've loved and we've grown up and we've nurtured them and we're going to build this creative world like Ashley was just talking about, Josh has to tear it down because no one can be happy because Josh isn't happy. So that's going to be this episode for the most part.
I love you guys already.
But I don't blame Josh. I blame Star Trek because they've created the Josh that we have today. If he had grown up just being a Star Wars fan, like normal, well-adjusted individuals, he'd be fine. But I digress. So we'll move on. Josh, obviously you were not a fan of Wreck-It Ralph 1. So with Ralph Breaks the Internet, what was it that this one brought to the table that tickled your young fancy?
It actually didn't. That was a total lie. I was just trying to build some sort of suspense. I hated this movie. It was not good at all. From the start of this movie, we just start. That's what happens. It's just like, oh, are we going to have any sort of pretext, anything like that? It's like, no, we're just going to throw you into it. And are we going to have really any sort of like real story, any sort of like thing that makes any sort of sense? No. Are we going to have like a lot of character growth for both of our main characters? Very, very little. Very little character growth for both of our characters.
Character growth happened in the movie.
If you're going to do a secondary movie, Toy Story 2 actually did it well. If you're going to take an animated movie and make a second one, Toy Story 2 did a really good job of with what they had and what they did for that movie. This movie, on the other hand, is a ridiculous cash grab that's all they did. The only good points in this movie were the princesses, the Disney princesses. That was it. And I was waiting the entire time for them to get to Disneyland, because when they get to Oh My Disney, the movie actually becomes tolerable. Any other time, the movie is utter garbage. You have these little Funko-looking people walking around, like, oh, wait, way to go there. Way to, be like, oh, look, Funko, we're going to make you happy, too. We're going to put these stupid little people in here.
Now, they're actually from, similar to the short Inner Workings, which is a Disney short, and they have very similar body shape and animated style to that. So if you've seen that short, it's already a Disney thing.
Yeah.
I mean, I probably saw that, but
I saw them
remember.
as Funkos, too.
I mean, they looked remarkably like Funkos. I mean, that's all it was to me. It was just Funkos.
I can actually see that
Inner Workings.
No, I can see that now that you brought it up. But I remember when we were sitting there watching it, we walked out and we said that it looked like it reminded us of Inner Working.
But that would be the Disney fan,
Yeah, but I could see what you're saying. Like, the blocky head with the smaller body. Like, yeah, for sure. I mean,
it's popular. Why would it makes sense, and it makes sense to the internet when you think about what your emoji or whatever avatar is. It fits, your head's going to fit in either a little circle or a little square. It works.
And it's odd that you think that there wasn't character development, because like when you really think of what they did with Vanellope, where in the first film she just wanted to be a racer, she just wanted to find herself. And then with this one, it was her thinking that she had found contentment, but realizing that there was more to life than what she had. And then also to see Wreck-It Ralph.
The exact
hold on, buddy, hold on.
Of the first movie. I thought it was Josh's time to talk first.
Yeah, but you've annoyed us we've annoyed us too much already. So now we're going to try to bring some positivity to this. So you think about with what they did with Wreck-It Ralph, the same thing though. It's like you have a character that he just wants to be treated the same as everybody else. He just wants to be given that same opportunity that everybody else in the Nice Landers will. And now this time, he's found a best friend. He's found somebody that he connects to, but all he wants to do is hold on to that person. So if anything, this is like an allegory for parents, where your child eventually wants to grow up and build their own life and move on. But as parents, we try to hold on. You get to that point where you're like, you don't want to let go. You don't want to and Ralph touches on this multiple times. He doesn't want her to go to slaughter race because she's afraid she's going to get hurt or killed. And it's that fear of a parent of the unknown. It's a fear of letting go. Mm-hmm. And I thought this movie really touched on that beautifully. And they did it in a way that didn't browbeat you with the message, but really towards the end when they've kind of had that conversation when he's talking to the viruses, I thought that was really nice. I thought it was a good way to develop Vanellope to the point where she's being able to go off and do her own thing, and that Ralph has been able to develop into, from the father figure or best friend, if you will, to somebody that knows that he can still stand on his own and still have that connectivity to her and still allow her to go do her own thing. So that's why, to me, I think it's weird that you said that there was no character development, because I thought both characters were very different from where we left them at the end of the first movie and where we found them at the start of this one.
Well, and like I said, the character development happened in this film. That's kind of what the story was about, was to see them develop into, where they were going to go to the end of this film. It happened in this movie. So in that 6 years, I don't care if they left off exactly where they were, 6 years ago. That's okay. We're jumping right back in. I think, honestly, most people kind of hope to go back to what they remember, because that's why we enjoy these movies to begin with. But to see how far they've grown in this, hour and a half of a film, I don't know how long it was, to see the growth that, like everything you touched on, Liam, it was all character development on both sides, for both Vanellope and for Ralph. The lesson of this whole movie was Ralph figuring out how to let go of Vanellope. Right. So I don't know. I feel like that's what the movie was about, was developing their character.
No. What about you, Ashley? What do you think?
Okay. So, I want to reconfirm. This is Disney Animation Studios' very first theatrical sequel, correct?
I think so.
Theatrical.
Yeah, because everything else.
I was like, everything always goes straight to.
Everything was direct to video.
Or it's all goes to animated series, like what they did with Tangled and with Big Hero 6. Yeah, I think this was.
So, having said that, overall, I thought the movie was okay. However, what Disney should have done, now I understand they wanted to test the waters a little bit to try to see what they could do with their very first theatrical sequel from their studio. Not talking about Pixar, Disney Animation Studio. So I understand they're trying to test the waters, see how much of a success it'll be. And because, the internet is the biggest thing, in our culture right now. They, in my personal opinion, what they should have done was turn Wreck-It Ralph into an animated TV series, like what they did with Tangled and Big Hero 6. That way, we could see more of how the characters have done, focus more on Felix and Calhoun's marriage, how that's going, and just more adventures with Ralph and Vanellope. Yeah, we could get some character development in a TV series. We get to see more of that. In this movie, I think they put a less effort in the Wreck-It Ralph universe, or their own realm in the arcade, and just did a lot more with the internet. I loved the new characters like Yes and Shank. They were the best. I wish that we got more of them. What Disney should have done was they should have just made it all original. Like, have Yes in the movie and Shank, and have, different protagonists exploring the internet. Not just Ralph and Vanellope, because I saw the characters, they were so distracting. I wanted to see the original characters. I felt like the Wreck-It Ralph characters just took my attention away. They were just very distracting. So I think they could have done a lot better with just sticking with originality, all of it, and the internet part of it was great. And the Disney princesses, I enjoyed so much.
Agreed.
I just sing all the nostalgia feels, and all the other characters like Nick Wilde and Stan Lee making a cameo, and just and all the other characters. But they should have stuck with a TV series instead of a theatrical sequel. I think that just went a little too far.
See, I think my only contention to the television series is I have yet to see them do one that held my attention the way the film does. Mm-hmm. So it's like with Tangled, I love Tangled the film, but for the series, like I tuned out after like the second episode. It just didn't hold my attention.
Really?
Yeah, Big Hero 6 was the same way, and I really looked forward to that series because I loved the film. I mean, I wasn't a huge fan of the comic book because Silver Samurai kind of sucks. But the animated series I was super excited for, but kind of same thing. It's like once I watched it, the idea of returning to that world and having it be episodic like that, for me at least, and obviously this is just one opinion, it never captivates my attention the same way that a full-length feature does, because I think so much more time and effort goes into really trying to hold your attention for this was 112 minutes, you know what I mean? To try to keep that. Whereas if it's just that little 22 minutes and change, I feel like it's too almost clickbait in the way that it's done. Like just enough to get you by to get to the next episode. Whereas this movie has to make you sit still. Mm-hmm. And for us, being parents of a 3 going on 4-year-old, to some degree, we do judge movies based on how well it holds our kids' attention. Mm-hmm. And we loved Moana, absolutely loved it. But Remy was barely 2. Mm-hmm. And sat in the theater for the entirety of it, like completely wrapped full at attention the entire time. And we ended up taking a second time, same thing, sat at attention the entire time. So, when you see a movie like that, when you know that it can, connect to adults, but then still also entice a child, I think that is a good barometer, at least in this family, as to whether or not that movie could be deemed a success. But I do get what you're saying with this one. It was such a immense world, like the game Central Station, that it may have been fun to see Ralph and Vanellope bounce around and screw up other people's games. But I feel like there would have been a sense of redundancy, and I liked that this movie brought something new to the table. And although the internet at certain times it was a little bit, haha, look, it's Google, haha, look, it's Amazon. So it did get a little bit.
But that was the point.
Yeah. I mean, that ultimately was the reason for it. But I felt they did a good job of making it still about Ralph and Vanellope, just instead of taking place in Game Central Station, it just happened to take place in the internet. But you're right, the princesses were top notch. I mean, their sequences were phenomenal.
Now, I can see what they were trying to do with the Wreck-It Ralph characters, because they created, their own world in the arcade world and really did a really good job, that they wanted to branch out a little more, see what would happen if they visited the internet. Now, that would be really cool. So right. I think they took that idea and just went with it. And also I was going to bring something else up too. Oh, yeah, by the way, just because I'm a huge Tangled the series fanatic, you have not seen the best stuff. So I am dead serious. Please, try to watch more of the episodes, because it gets dark. Really dark.
I think I've seen how many. So what season did you say? This is the second season coming up?
They're on the second season, but the first season is the best.
Yeah, I think I've seen all of it. I will stick with TV shows more than Liam will. He is definitely a movie goer more than he is a TV show. Yeah. But I have watched, I think, all of the Tangled series. What else was the most recent one that they did? I haven't watched any of the Big Hero 6 though. And that one was also,
I haven't watched much of Big Hero 6 either.
Yeah, it was a huge movie for us, so I thought I was going to be more invested. So that one I got to go give a shot again. But no, I definitely enjoyed the Tangled show, and I'm glad that they didn't go with a sequel for Tangled. But something about when I leave a movie theater, when I go back to the first Wreck-It Ralph, there's usually, it's would I see a sequel of this? That's what Liam and I always ask each other. Would you watch another one of these movies when it's the original? And Wreck-It Ralph was the one that I was like, yep, this one. Do a sequel. I need to see another movie for this one. So I'm glad that they went the movie route for that. Thinking of Zootopia. I absolutely adored Zootopia and Moana, but do I want sequels of them? No. I don't. I think those ones, go ahead, do TV series, do spin-off, episodes, or spin-off shorts, whatever they like to do in front of other people's, movies. That's fine. It's their thing. Mm-hmm. But I don't need more of those movies. There's something about Wreck-It Ralph that I was like, nope, I need another one of these movies.
But interestingly enough, you did say that you didn't want a trilogy. You didn't want a third one.
I do not want a third one. See, I'm very promising that they are probably going to make this a series. after this one,
A TV
because
show.
they will make it a TV show because they will
they
go
really
into
should.
they'll go into Calhoun and Felix and raising those kids.
The
That's
racers.
going to be a story in itself.
Right.
What else? There's so many, stories that they can touch on. Yes, and Shank a little bit more. Vanellope in her, Shank. What is it? What's the game called? Slaughter Race.
Oh, Slaughter Race. They could do Zangief's starts like a body waxing parlor.
That's a personal choice.
I mean, they could have had a lot more time and effort making it into a TV series and just like explore more of the characters, because I do love all of the characters from the Wreck-It Ralph universe that I wanted to learn more about them. Like with Fix and Felix and Calhoun, I wanted to see more of them, and I saw Calhoun's character, and like her character just changed so much. Like I miss her feistiness.
Yeah.
Well, think about like what they can do from here on out, where if they do go on to a series and they touch on more of Fix-It Felix and Calhoun and them reminiscing of, oh, remember that time before the 15 children? And then we cut back to like, just them honeymooning for 6 years, and Calhoun, I don't know.
Going on missions and killing cybugs.
Yeah, and punching Felix up some more, because why not? That was a great part of the movie.
Absolutely.
But I think that's a big difference too, is like what I was saying before, how they balanced those characters really well in the first film. This one was very much only about Ralph and Vanellope.
Yes.
Shank sprinkled in there, and yes, sprinkled in there, but we didn't have, like, I think Ashley, you were talking on this, we didn't have new characters that resonated the same way it did in the first film.
Yeah, but I do like the message that they used in this film, because it really touched my heart as well, because I too have had, friends in the past, like I've made online, but I've had to part ways with them even though I really didn't want to, but they wanted to move on, and I just had to learn to let it go and just let them live their own life, and it really touched me so hard that I cried. Like when Vanellope and Ralph were saying their, just waving goodbye, like as she was just going up the stairs, it just hit me like that.
Oh, that was
like,
so
it hit
sweet.
me close to home. I was like, oh my gosh.
And then they do, things that are real to us, where they're video chatting about, hey, I'm not going to get to see you for 2 months, but what have you been up to? And then, they're touching back on all these things. And so many of us can relate to that, whether it be with friendships, like you just touched on, or even when you want to really make it more personal to your specific, like us, it would be family. Because it would be oh my gosh, Remy's going to do that one day, and he's going to grow up and he's going to leave us. And we're going to have to rely on phone calls and, him filling us in on what's going on. But this works for everybody, whether it's your friendships or it's, the parenting side. I think that's what's great, is that when you can connect, that's when they've done right with a movie, is if that message can hit you.
Absolutely, yeah.
So, and I think that's what was great about Ralph Breaks the Internet. Josh, do you have anything?
I was gonna say, wake up, Josh.
To say
I know
on
you fell
this?
asleep for all that.
No, I've been here the whole time. I have zero to contribute to this because I didn't enjoy any of this.
That's
so
such
I've
a
just been listening to
bummer.
you guys talk.
That's such a bummer. Like, I really
What
thought
would
that
you-
this one was going to be.
Well, what did you
more up
want
your
them
alley.
to do, Josh? Like, since you knew it was happening, there was no way of getting away from a sequel of Wreck-It Ralph. What would you prefer?
I didn't think it needed a sequel. If it were me personally,
Yeah.
I wish we would have done a little bit more, like with what Ashley said. I wish we would have done more with the newer characters. Like, I loved Shank. Shank was super awesome. Like, and her little gang that she had, they all had little personalities that I was really starting to dig. For the 13 seconds that you actually get to see them, they're really, really cool.
I know,
But then after that, they're just gone.
I like
so
Butcher
if we
Boy.
would have had more stuff with them, it would have been so good. But I don't know. It was just I don't know. To me, it was just a mess. It felt like they were trying to throw so much stuff into it that they couldn't figure out what they wanted to do with it. So they were just like, you know what? Just throw more. Just throw more, throw more, throw more. And that's what they did. And they just kept piling it full of crap. And that's what happened, unfortunately. We're just like pounding. And then you get stuck with this movie and you're like, oh, okay, I guess we're done. And what I was kind of going with, like, previously, kind of to derail again, with the character development, I know I misspoke. basically what I want when I meant there's very little of it, I meant in the movie generally. Like, we don't think it's briefly mentioned and then nothing until like the last like fifth of the movie. And that's when you get it all, when everything starts breaking down between the two characters. And that's when you kind of start seeing everything build up. But after that, it's just, Ralph's being kind of protective. You can see that he doesn't like her hanging out with her because he's caring. But yeah, like so I personally, I'm just going to let you guys talk because I have nothing good to say about this film. And like Thumper said, if you don't have anything good to say, don't say anything at all, so I gotta do it.
Can't say something nice.
Don't say nothing at all.
Don't say nothing at all.
Well, he also says leafy greens are good to eat. No,
Long ears.
and great big feet. They sure are awful to eat. I made that last part up myself. There's the part of me that kind of sees where you're going with that, Josh, because I remember going into this film, and we can kind of talk about like our expectations, right? Because I remember them talking ad nauseum about entering the land of online gaming and really trying to go into that realm. So I thought that there was going to be a little bit more of them like game hopping. You know what I mean? As opposed to like, oh, we only go and visit Slaughter Race, and now we're in the dark web, and then we're back just on the regular old internet, and Ralph is becoming a YouTube star, a BuzzTube star, and there was a little bit where it's, maybe I was expecting them to kind of game hop a little bit, and that the danger of that would be because they're not coded to those games, that they are very much in peril. They are in danger as they go from game to game to game. And maybe it is where Vanellope's trying to...
Well, they did that in the first movie, though.
Well, but I mean, really, when they game hop, though, you go to... Sugar Rush, and you go to Call of Duty, Heroes Duty. So like those are really the games that they go to, and that's it. But I thought we were going to see them go from like a bunch of different online games, and that would have resonated more with the crowds today, because online gaming is such a, I mean, it has been for a while, but there is such a prevalence to that, because there are games, i.e. Star Wars Battlefront, that are literally created solely for online gaming. There's almost no storyline, because they know a vast majority of the people that are playing this game are just going online to talk trash with one another.
Well, I think that would have been predictable, though. We expected them to go and jump from game to game.
Right.
They weren't, with all of the trailers, I was worried that they were giving away too much constantly. With every new trailer or a little sneak peek, I was like, gosh, stop giving us all these, these jokes. I want to hear them in the movie. I want them to be fresh and funny. And luckily, they left a lot, to be desired without giving away too much in the trailers. Because when I watched this film, I didn't expect it to be hinging on the fact that Ralph is obsessed with his friendship with Vanellope.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I didn't see it going that way. So kudos to Disney for not giving away too much, even though I thought they were.
Right.
Well, with Disney trailers these days, they don't. You tend to like you shouldn't really believe in what the trailers show you, because most of what they show are not in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Which they touched on.
And that's the same with Marvel.
Trailer, just don't believe any of it.
Yeah. Well, Infinity War did that.
It's the same with
crazy.
Well, it's the
Tons
same with Marvel. Usually, any Disney property, they're really good about, and even Star Wars, they're really good about giving things. I guess not giving things away. And even like when you think about Star Wars and how we constantly try to piece together like, oh, this is happening with this person, and it's completely wrong. Like nobody is ever right when it comes to guessing what's going on in these trailers. So that's one thing I love about the Disney properties, is that they have trailers right. Even though we may think they're giving away too much, they're really not giving us anything at all. Yeah. Because when you watch the movie finally, you're like, oh, it does feel like a breath of fresh air.
Well, and the stinger for this one was fantastic, right? Where they completely touch on the fact
Baby
that Mo. And what was really cool is that was Nicole Scherzinger, the girl that does play her mom in Moana.
She voiced.
She voiced the mom. Yeah, Mo's mom.
Did you guys stick through the whole thing and watch?
Yes.
Okay, and even to the very, very end.
Josh, you sat through the whole credits.
No, I left.
Oh,
my
the
gosh.
moment that it left, I was like, I'm done, and I left.
Oh, okay. Well, they do their fun little Disney Marvel. We're giving you extra content at in between the credits. They did the Baby Mo, which the little girl who they're saying looks like Baby Moana, and the milkshake pancake thing. It's her joke.
Because
what happened?
Yeah, because she was like, hey, they showed this thing in the trailer and we didn't get to see it. I was like, oh my God.
They're going to do it.
Because I had just finished saying that because they showed a picture of the app for Pancake Milkshake.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, they didn't put that in the movie. And then 2 minutes later, what do you know? It's them joking about how they didn't put it in the movie. And luckily they did. That was Remy's favorite part because he would scream his head off every time the little girl would scream. So he enjoyed that. We enjoyed it. And then if you go to the very, very end of the credits, you stayed for that, Ashley, right?
Yes.
Okay. We got rickrolled.
Yep.
Literally, they
Frozen 2, what?
Yeah, Frozen 2 sequel, and then it was like funky writing, it wasn't even Frozen writing, or font, and then we go to Ralph, no joke, singing "Never Gonna Give You Up."
See,
it was awesome.
What was kind of a bummer though is because when I go through the credits, I will look, especially for the music and whatnot, and I saw that it said "Never Gonna Give You Up," Rick Astley, so I was like, oh, we're gonna get rickrolled.
Yeah.
So as soon as it said Frozen 2, I was like, we're getting rickrolled right now.
Clever. It was
I don't know,
very
that
clever.
seems so old.
Rickrolled? Well, but it's an internet thing, right?
It's an internet
I
thing.
mean, yeah, it's an internet thing, but I mean, it also seems old, and I'm not 100% sure the people at Disney understand how the internet works.
Probably not.
I was just watching this movie, I'm like, that's not what any of this is.
That's not how any of this works.
People don't do that anymore. Oh well, whatever,
They definitely had some old internet memes in this movie.
I mean, they were old.
I guess just trying to revisit a lot.
Well,
of them.
I'm sure when they were pitching this movie, and they were like, okay, yeah, we'll do this. All of those were current, and now they're all gone.
Well, but what was it? Oh, what's the Spamly? Is that the guy? The freaking what's Bill Hader's character?
Bill Hader,
he even says when they go to the dark net and the freaking dude with the little brother on his neck is like, how do I know you? And he's like, oh, we met on Friendster. I mean, it was a while ago. I loved that. It was such a good little tag right there. Because anybody that's old enough to remember pre MySpace and Facebook, there was a friend meetups place called Friendster, which you could add friends and whatnot. And I mean, I'm dating myself here, but yeah, it was super fun. So I liked that little tag. That was cute.
Did they have
that character? Reminded me of Jabba the Hutt.
Oh, totally.
100% for sure.
So gross. Did they have? Was that a? I couldn't see, but it was half of the Ask Jeeves logo buried in there because it looks like it said Eves on it.
Oh, probably then, because there was also.
I was like, oh, freaking Ask Jeeves. That got me, and I was like, I remember asking him stupid questions.
What
Did
else?
you guys happen to catch when those ad people, the ad pop-ups people came up to Ralph and Vanellope? There was at one point, there was one ad, and it featured Aunt Cass from Big Hero 6.
Was
I didn't see that one, no.
It was I don't know. I guess it was, they were subtly trying to be visit hotbabes.com or something. And it showed Aunt Cass's face.
Or it was probably the friend, because it's old, hot, single females or something wanted me or want to hang out with you.
Like that.
Yeah, it probably was, because I think that they also had a nod to her cat Mochi at one point, since everything was all about cats. I'm pretty sure one of the cats was Mochi doing something stupid in one of the videos in BuzzTube. I was like, that's awesome, because that's what's fun about this movie is that they were able to put nods into all of their own properties like they do already, but it made sense in this movie. We go to Oh My Disney, and holy crap, there was a plethora of nods to it. We have a Stan Lee cameo, which brilliant. Yes, that was necessary and much needed.
Yeah.
As of late. What else? Iron Man was great to see. 3PO being the princess's butler.
Oh,
awesome.
man. 3PO being 3PO.
Eeyore being sad and dumpy, like usual. Who else? Dumbo flying around. Who else? Oh, and the old animated characters. They had the bear and the rainforest, the freaking. Oh gosh, what was those?
Well, they
called?
had Grumpy.
Super
Obviously.
old cartoons.
Yeah, and I know what you're talking about, Brittany. Like they had the bear, and it was like
The 2D, like it was still 2D.
Yeah, 2D
original
animation
too. I was like,
I
okay,
love
Yeah.
that. That was awesome. If only they would have played more into that. But I mean, at least we got new versions of the princesses. And okay, so let's tie into. I think we all enjoyed the princess scene. So when we go to the end of the film, how awesome was it that they kind of got redemption to where they're saving a big man? You know, at the end of the movie.
Back. When they came back, I was like, it's good. I'm glad they came back. I like that.
And we had our first guy-on-guy kiss.
Did we?
Yeah, Naveen and Ralph.
Well,
Oh my
yeah.
god, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah,
Nice.
piece of rock,
It's
totally.
it's an interspecies kiss.
We
So,
eat,
Disney.
which some people are not okay with too. It's a thing. No, that I don't know. I thought the princess scene at the end there was pretty awesome. So way for them to bring it back full circle were you saved by a big, strong man? Yeah, what is with that?
I wish-
and then they go to.
Part of me wishes they
Princesses.
would have changed that up a bit since we got that in the trailers so much. I wish they would have changed it up just a tad, maybe, and maybe they would have, given us a little bit of a different intro. Just because, I had already seen that, so I knew all of the hits that they were going to do with it, which is fine because it's still great. But at the same time, I'm like, well, you've changed enough from some of the other trailers, like the stuff that was in the trailers that isn't anywhere near this movie. But I'm like,
Well, they did. They changed up Merida.
Yeah, they completely
the-
changed
yeah,
Merida.
the
where I
dialogue
couldn't
she
even
had in the trailer, they
understand her
changed
this time.
on.
Like I could understand her
Oh,
in the
God,
trailer,
no.
and this one I caught
Yeah.
like 7 words, and I was like, right. And then she didn't say anything. That was her entire line. Like that was it. She didn't say anything
Yeah,
else.
that was pretty sad.
No.
Same thing with Ming Na Wen. Like Ming Na Wen has like
Two lines
one
and
bit
that's
of
it.
line, and that's it in the entire thing.
Well, Moana had like half a sentence, so
Right.
You're
She didn't-
oh my
welcome.
gosh, Ariel,
You're
didn't
welcome.
shut up.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
But
I was okay.
I
with
will
that.
say,
But that is their
Ariel
cash
looked
cow.
like the quintessential 15-year-old girl. Like what is she? Is she 15 or 16?
16.
She's 16.
I'm 16 years old, Dad. I can make my own decisions.
Whatever. So she's like
You can, but you
super
shouldn't.
16, like
Yeah.
watching. I'm like, yeah, they nailed you. She's all bright-eyed and bushy-tailed the entire time.
Well, and it was interesting because obviously with like the controversy and whatnot that we had run into with Tiana being lighter skinned and having a thinner, more European nose.
They darkened her up.
They darkened her up, made her look more like she did in the animated, and they actually made changes to Pocahontas
Yeah.
as
Oh, yeah.
well. So it was interesting that with those two, not that they featured, but they did have a little bit more involvement when it was the princess scenes. I was actually surprised they did as much with like Cinderella.
Oh my
You know what I mean?
God,
I kind of figured they would. I figured they would lean into the princesses that they still have the voice actresses now. You know what I mean? So I was expecting more from Moana, from Tiana, from Ariel, because Jodie Benson, obviously, even Paige O'Hara for Belle, which I don't think they used her that much. So I think it was kind of interesting. Anna, obviously, Kristen Bell, they used her quite a bit. Idina Menzel, I think, only had like 2 or 3 lines.
Yeah, she didn't talk
So-
that much. I will say I loved Pocahontas doing her little Colors of the Wind thing
Yeah.
at the end. I
me
was
too.
like, I love it. And then you hear the music cue, too, and I'm like, I got you guys. That's good. That's a good one.
Yeah, I thought all in all with the princesses,
Well, they-
princess scenes were both really.
They pulled music from every movie,
Every single one of
from
them, yeah.
every princess movie. That was
Oh, you could
brilliant.
You could see that in the credits where it was like Alan Menken, Tim Rice.
Did-
Alan Menken's
did-
all-
And then Alan Menken writing a
Yeah.
song.
Did they pull music from Brave when she shot the arrow? Because
I'm sure they did.
I would only ask because I couldn't tell you a single thing about that movie other than there was a bear and a tart, and that was it. It's the only thing I
That's
know
right.
about that movie is there's a bear and a tart, and her brothers are bears, not to be confused with Brother Bear. It's all weird. It's just weird.
Well, let's talk about the song. So obviously, her being a princess, that was part of her requisite, if you will, was to be able to
flatteries.
look deeply into important water and sing a song about what she truly wants. Ashley, what did you think of the song?
That was honestly, I would probably have to say that was my favorite scene. I think that was the movie that got a laugh out of me. That was the one scene. But yeah, and I liked how Gal Gadot was a part of it too, and yeah, it was a really good musical number.
Right. Well, because technically Gal Gadot is Wonder Woman, so she is Princess Diana. So she could be a princess as well and sing. Josh, although you hated the entirety of the movie, you can own up that this is probably your favorite song of all time, right?
It's my favorite song of this movie.
Nice.
I'm gonna go with that. I mean, this may be where I laughed, like when she's looking at the puddle and nothing's happening, and then you see the change. I kind of got a little chuckle, and that may be the entire chuckle that was in my entire auditorium. Like
you were the one person.
Well, no, I mean that may have been the entire laugh in my entire theater. Like,
oh, wow, so nobody laughed anywhere else?
Like, exactly. I don't know if there were supposed... And I was kind of talking with Ashley a little bit earlier. I don't know if there were supposed to be jokes in this movie, but they all fell flat for my audience.
It must just be an Oklahoma thing. It's
be.
got to be like a Midwest, like no sense of humor. I mean,
are you guys happy there?
Well, that's why you're a flyover
gotta be in the
state.
water.
People are just avoiding you at this point, so... No, that's interesting because we had a pretty decently full theater and they were pretty responsive. I mean, it was a lot of kids. The kid that was right in front of Brittany had an afro and kept standing constantly, which was really fun.
Maybe that was it. We didn't have a lot of kids. Like there was like one little kid who kind of cried a little bit, but other than that, it wasn't really kids.
You were the little kid that cried a little bit. Okay, so but everybody else was an adult, and then it was just crying Josh. Bima, what'd you think of the song?
Of the slaughter race song, of Vanellope's moment of her spilling a puddle or finding a puddle in the ground and like, come on, it's got to be important water, for her to come to. And then, I thought that was brilliant. Every time that they touched on a princess aspect of what a Disney movie is, they cut jokes at themselves so much in this movie. I, as a Disney lover, enjoyed it. I would hope that other people not loving Disney as much as I do would appreciate that as well. But if not, okay, cool. They were given back to us. I'm good with that. I give them lots of my money. So the fact that they were nodding towards everything that is so ridiculous, but yet we love in a princess movie, they did that with Vanellope. Vanellope was kind of that, okay, I guess I should have a song. And then her song was so Vanellope.
Right.
It was, you wouldn't expect it to be any other way. There was flying pigeons. So basically rat birds going around her, not cute little ones that are making clothes. So, I don't know. I thought it was so great.
Yeah. The dollar store.
Yes. Like just everything about it, all the just jokes in it. It was perfect. It was perfect for a Princess Vanellope song.
I liked it in theory. I didn't enjoy the execution because Sarah Silverman is not a singer.
No,
even a little bit. See, and that was painful to listen to.
And you as a
vocalist,
me and him get into so many arguments about music because of this. I don't care that you have gone through college and have learned the proper terms for music.
Yeah.
It is okay to have a crappy voice.
Oh,
okay?
No, it's great to have one. I just don't want to listen to you sing a song on screen.
But and then it goes to, Miss Piggy and her singing and how awful she is. But I don't care. She's Miss Piggy. She has an awful voice. She's going to have an awful singing voice. It's okay.
No, 100%.
Not everybody is Adele.
No, and that was where it was tough because like the subject matter was super funny. Like the idea of what was going on was super funny. Like the fact that, like you said, she was singing because she had looked in the puddle and finally had her moment of clarity, what have you. But just Sarah Silverman's voice in general, like her normal speaking voice is pretty grating, but to have her try to set it to music was painful.
Nope, I love that.
So,
I absolutely love it.
But it had to be because if she suddenly came out with like this amazing voice, it wouldn't have matched. It wouldn't have fit the character.
Well, see, and
so you still needed it to be that way.
And that's where I resonate is, to me, I hate my freaking voice. So anytime, I hear somebody like Sarah Silverman, Vanellope
makes you feel better about it?
No. I resonate with her. Like, I feel like Vanellope's voice is my obnoxious voice. That's just how I feel. So I appreciate it. So for you hating it, we're going to have some words later. Okay, Liam?
Fair enough. But yeah, no, I liked it, but like I said, her voice is left some things to be desired. But I liked that they threw it in there.
Her voice didn't really annoy me so much in the first movie, but then after hearing it a lot in this one, I was like, okay.
That's my favorite thing. Voices, little kid voices are my freaking favorite. Like when we think about Bob's Burgers, what is Luis and
Jean
her in
and
as
Tina.
Mabel? Oh my god, I love favorite voice actress. Like
Oh, yeah,
I
yeah.
love their voices. They're so. Who else is a good one? Lilo, I think she has a great voice, but she was a little kid, so that makes sense.
Yeah, made sense.
But like adults who can go on and do these silly kid voices, they're my favorite.
No. Well, I mean, all three of the kids from Bob's Burgers are hilarious, and the fact that it's a guy that does Tina is even more funny. But I did like that both Rich Moore and Phil Johnson, the directors, both also voice characters in the film as well. Obviously, Phil Johnson was Surge Protector, which he reprised from the
First one.
From the first movie. And then let me see if I can find who Rich Moore was. Oh, I just saw it.
I think he was one of the stormtroopers.
Well, you do that. I'm going to walk something back. There was another time I laughed in this film. So many that I can count on 2 fingers. When they're talking and like when she's with the princesses and they're like, your dad, your mom? And she's like, I don't have a mom. And all the princesses are like, neither do we. And it was like all but like 4 of them. And I'm like, yeah, that's Disney for you. I laughed a little bit and I was like, they're all dead.
More jokes at themselves.
Rich Moore and Phil Johnson were both auction bidders. But yeah, it looks like actually what you were thinking, B, is the FN 3181 was Michael Giacchino, who he was in the film as well.
He was
Very cool.
3181.
Yeah. Yep. So, and then obviously we also had Tim Allen and Anthony Daniels and Vin Diesel all coming back as Buzz 3PO and Baby Groot. So, and Brad Garrett.
I liked how C-3PO it's like princesses. It's like you all needed in like 13 minutes.
And they're all groaning. They're all like, oh, okay. They are not the ones that like to do the meet and greets. So what can we say? But okay, so Josh, obviously this one ranks pretty low for you. But how about for you, Ashley? Where would this one rank? We usually rate it out of 5. So where would your rating for this one be?
For this one, I would give it 2 Norwell blasts.
2 Norwell blasts. There you go.
So that's bad then. To us, 2 is pretty bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was okay, but not overall.
Probably not one that you would go and see again.
Nah.
No?
I'm waiting on Spider-Verse.
Oh, there you go. Josh, how about you?
This is going to give a big ol' 1 defines.
A big old 1. There you go.
My favorite thing is that your audio cut out when you said that, so I just assumed it was a 0.
So
I was going to say it was a 5. He loved
like,
it.
they bleeped it out for me.
Now he's the glitch.
Yeah, right. Glitch. Beema, how about you?
Because I like to give halvesies on these movies, I'm going to give it a 4.5, because I wouldn't quite give it a 5, because Wreck-It Ralph is a 5.
Right.
But this one wasn't as great as the first one. I did enjoy it, but I'll give it a 4.5 because I loved it.
I'll go with a 4. Solid 4 on this one. I really liked it. I think the little nods to it and the message overall were real powerful, but I think that some of the in-between stuff was a little forgettable at times. Maybe that's just because we've only seen it once, whereas the first Wreck-It Ralph we've seen infinity times. So obviously that one we can kind of quote front to back. And also, like, as much fun as it is to have Alan Tudyk return, but this time voice knows more, let's be honest, King Candy is probably one of his greatest voices of all time.
King Candy was great.
Absolutely.
And that was such a good villain.
Have some candy.
Good
I
villain.
honestly kind of hoped he would come back in this one. I mean, it could have been great if he just suddenly just came out of nowhere, but
Well, Brittany and I were talking about this. It's interesting that like there's only one Sonic, right? And there's only one Wreck-It Ralph. But like there's multiple arcade games, so it's not like they bounce from one arcade game to the next arcade game. And if they go to the internet, like they wouldn't ever bump into like another Turbo or another King Candy or something. I thought that would have been kind of fun if they bump into him, but he has no idea of what the other one did. So like he's just a normal Turbo, and he's like, whoa, what are you getting so crazy about? Like he has, because it would have been alternate universes.
See, but then we go into that X-Men thing where that confuses the crap out of people. So
true.
Goodness gracious, I would hate to see people comment about that.
Try to get a 4-year-old to understand the multiverse. So
Wait a minute, he's a bad guy.
Right? Perfect. Cool. So Josh, you're the leader of this club. So what
That's made for you.
what else you got to go into this one? What else do you want to add to it? Cool. So
Big old one.
big old one for Josh.
Big old one.
Big old one dipper.
I was going to say I'd give it a 0, but Shankin and everybody. But yeah, I'm screwed. So what was it that you asked again? I'm sorry.
No, I was gonna say. So we've got our ratings. I guess this would average out about a 2.5 with Josh's one on there. I don't know. So with this one, would you either of you guys be excited if they did a trilogy or if this went to a television series to continue the stories?
Television series.
All I know is I would rather watch Cars 2.
Oh God!
Yeah.
Whoa,
Ugh.
that's saying
I
a
know.
lot.
Death by Cars 2. Oh, that's a way to go.
Yeah, I would rather lose it there.
Is it
'Cause
because
at
they
least
went to
that one-
Tokyo?
They were in Japan.
Yeah, I'm
I
about to
knew
say,
it.
it's 'cause
I
they were in Japan.
freaking knew it.
That was the only the redeeming quality of Cars 2.
So you would be like Cars 2 instead of seeing the Disney princesses again.
Well, here's the thing, though. This isn't going to be my last time to see the Disney princesses. And if I want to see the Disney princesses, I'll just watch the trailer.
Oh, that's true.
That's true, I guess.
Yeah, but you don't get to see the super battle scene where they all use their superpowers in concert. That was pretty BA.
That was awesome.
That'll be on YouTube.
Friggin'
Give it like 2 weeks.
Moana doing the fountain with Ariel splashing through the top and then Elsa making it an ice slide all the way down. Yeah.
Oh, and Gus and Jack.
So cute.
Yeah, I saw
On the
Gus
arrows?
there.
They were adorable.
Oh my god, I flipped out.
His little laugh, that was so good. Oh man. No, that was
You
that
sounded
was
more
pretty
Krusty
legit.
the Clown.
Krusty the Clown. Ooh, gross. Yeah, no. I'm for me, I would actually go see this again.
Totally.
Yeah, I think I would actually go just to see anything that I missed, because
Easter eggs.
I was trying to see background stuff to try to catch as much as possible, but I mean, I'm sure there's things that a keener eye will have caught than I would have. So I'm fine with them doing a TV series of this. I think I'd probably be more inclined to watch a TV series versus another movie, which is contrary to what I said previously. I just think that cinematically they've touched on everything they need to with these characters.
Yeah.
What Ashley was saying earlier, I like the idea of just hanging out in Game Central Station, and maybe each episode they jump to another game and screw something up. You know, like I'm okay with that.
I have a question. So, Vanellope is now in Slaughterhouse
Race.
5 or whatever it's called. So she's gone. But she was like the middle character in Sugar Rush. So is that just like blank now? And is nobody going to question the fact that, oh, this character is now just gone?
Well, no, because remember, it's always rotating. So they do that race at night to pick like the
Who goes in,
the
yeah.
12 racers or whatever it is. So they would just be like, oh, she's not one of the 12 racers we can select anymore. Just like she wasn't one of the racers prior to 6 years ago when she first popped up on the scene.
Because she was never able. They were never able to pick her because King Candy took
Wouldn't let her
her
race.
code out.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. So.
Oh, was that part of the first movie?
Yes.
Yeah. He had removed her. He had locked her code and everybody's memories of her. So that's why she couldn't race.
and nobody knew she was the sovereign ruler of Sugar Rush.
Even though her picture was on the side of the freaking arcade game.
Yeah.
So it was just she would just.
It's been 6 years.
Yeah. So she would just. They would be like, oh well, she was a character for 6 years, and then there was an update, and now she's not one of the characters we can select. So it just would have changed over time. So
Well, I mean, you can't really have an up. I mean, those don't really update.
Well, it would just be it's not available anymore. It would be a glitch. She was literally a glitch. So her glitch glitched out of the game.
yeah.
It works.
You know,
I guess.
I can't wait for CinemaSins to review this movie once it comes out on DVD and Blu-ray.
Yeah.
So just to pinpoint everything.
Oh boy. Well, this is a fun episode. I'm glad we got to do it. Thanks for coming on, guys. It was super fun.
Of course.
Thank you.
That's what we're here for.
Well, and we're always surprised that you're still our friend after we do an episode with you, Josh.
I know. It's one of those ones where it's like, bizarre, isn't it?
Maybe I should
Highly
let them
bizarre.
go soon.
Well, it's like, well, I'm going to have two people that I know probably loved this movie come onto my show where I hated this movie, and we're going to talk about it.
We know we're just in your catalog for Disney goers. When
Right.
you need some positivity, you count on us.
Pretty much.
Well,
And you can always find me too to talk about Disney.
Yay!
Well,
Awesome.
it was one of those, Ashley had kind of said, like, oh well, this, we had texted just a wee bit before, so it was like, well, I feel that both of us are going to give it low, so let's bring in like an optimist infusion, and that's where HYLT Radio comes in.
That's what
Our
we
good friends
do.
from sunny Bespin. Are you guys there? Bespin?
No, we don't
Are
live
you
on
guys still
Bespin
there?
anymore. We're just in sunny California.
You moved? Okay. Mm-hmm. I will say I did watch Spider-Man Homecoming today.
Peter Spiderman.
Well, you did buy it, so I would hope you watched it.
It was one of those, since you can't rent it anywhere, this was my only thing. I could buy it for $6 thanks to Black Friday, or just never watch it because I wasn't gonna spend $14.99 on it.
We'll
to
feel
get it
ya.
digitally. So.
See,
There you
and
go.
we have those same thoughts towards DC, so it works.
No, because, what was it? Oh, Josh, I completely forgot to text you about this, which I probably could have done after the show was over anyways. But I watched, on Netflix, was it Bad Blood? Batman Bad Blood? Where it's like him and Batwoman.
Oh.
And oh my God, what was it? I didn't pay a whole lot of attention because it wasn't very good.
I've seen that's on there.
Yeah.
It's one of those where I didn't know that was a thing.
Right.
And that's not a good sign.
No, and you know what was tough? Because the animation is amazing. I love the animation style in it. Like, it's very gritty. It's very, updated. It's not, I love the Batman animated series, but like this, I really enjoy this animation style. But man, the story just really didn't make sense. And I don't know. They have a guy, they have a guy named,
Is it Conroy?
Batman has maybe 2 lines, so it could have been anybody. It didn't sound like Conroy to me. But they have a character named Batarang.
Oh my god.
Isn't that a character from...
No, it is literally
Teen Titans
a dude
Go?
a dude that, there is like the Robin's
Yeah.
Batarang thing. No, but he's a dude that is basically Falcon from the Avengers, but he is a Batman. He's a new style of Batman.
Oh, yeah, he's like the Batman from Batman Inc.
Sure, I'll go with that one. But yes.
Yeah, he's like I believe he's like South Africa's Batman. When Batman was going like around the world, and they were like Batman Incorporated, so it was like different Batmans from all over the place.
Oh, weird. No, this one was like Lucius Fox's son or nephew. He had some connection to Lucius Fox.
Well,
and that's
the
why
original, like when they did Batman Inc., it's DC. They've rebooted 17 times.
New 52.
So,
Rebirth.
and then whatever they're on now, I don't remember.
Nice.
Titans is doing well though.
Is it?
Loving Titans. Yeah. Once we're done, once we're done, I'll buy you a subscription to DC Universe.
How nice of you to buy us a subscription, because you should never just lend out your access codes, for that would be unethical.
Exactly. That's why you should always get a subscription. Speaking of getting a subscription, if you want 2 weeks of free anime, our good friends over at Funimation are giving you 2 free weeks of anime. Just click the little description that's in our show notes. You can it'll take you there. You'll sign up. After the 2 weeks, it's only $5.99. So $5.99 for a ridiculously large library of dubbed anime, and for you weirdos out there, subbed anime as well. So if you want to read your anime, it's actually available, so you can do it. So yeah, you listen to it in, English or in Japanese and read, whichever floats your boat.
I'm a weirdo.
No,
yes, I know.
See, we can watch that Fruit Baskets thing with our 2-week free subscription to Funimation.
Exactly. So you can watch or read Fruits Basket.
How many?
They have both
how many episodes?
It's like 24.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's a finite series, a la Cowboy Bebop or Trigun.
Exactly. Yeah.
Then
oh man, Trigun. We just finished Trigun.
Nice. Did you watch the movie Badlands Rumble?
I love Badlands Rumble.
Same. Anytime you bring Nicholas D. Wolfwood back, I'm good for it.
It's one of those that I think I like Badlands Rumble more than I like the series.
Nice.
Which is weird, but I think I like Badlands Rumble more than I like the series.
Yeah, it is a pretty dope movie. I don't know if Brittany's watched that one. She's watched all of Trigun with me, but I don't think she's watched Badlands Rumble yet.
No, I don't think so. It's been a long time, so we got to go back and watch Trigun again, because
do.
that one I remember enjoying a lot.
Yeah, and Remy can watch like the first 6 episodes.
Before it gets a little too dark.
Yeah.
Because most anime does.
It always does.
Well, I mean, he does kill somebody in like the first episode, so maybe not let him watch the first one.
No, he doesn't kill somebody in the first one.
Yeah, the bad guy does with the big green mohawk. He sure does kill one of his men.
Oh, he kills one of his own men, but Trigun, or not Trigun. Sorry, Vash doesn't kill anybody.
Vash is fine.
It's okay. Remy's got to learn that there's bad guys in the world.
Because what is it? The one? Well, no, I won't get into it because I would be spoiling it for anybody that hasn't seen the series.
Yes,
but yes, go and watch it.
Spoiling Trigun that came out almost 20 years ago.
Right? Oh my god. Yeah, 2000.
If they haven't watched it by now, they're probably not going to care.
Yeah.
Oh, no, wait. It would have been 20 years
Was it
ago,
98?
Trigun came out 97, 98. And yeah, it's been 20 years.
That's insane.
Right?
Makes me feel incredibly old.
Welcome to the Feel Old podcast.
Now I need to create that podcast.
Yeah, the Feel Old cast. All right. So yeah, this was fun. So, Liam and Brittany, where can all of our wonderful people find you?
In Fresno.
Wait a minute. No,
you have to drive around a bit.
So give your address.
We're currently residing at
123 Main Street, California. No, you guys can find us at HYLT Radio, is HYLT, so at HYLT Radio on Twitter and Instagram, or you can go to HYLTradio.com for all sorts of goodies, as well as an article that I had recently written on the passing of Stan Lee and what it meant to me and my family. So go ahead and check that out, HYLTradio.com. Bimo, where can they find you individually?
You can find me at Citizen of Disney.
You can find me at Liam Bright.
Ashley?
You can find me at Plus Et En Vue at Instagram and Twitter. And you can also find me on at ashleysailor.com and also Ashley Sailor VO on Twitter.
And you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Josh L. Kane. You can find the podcast on Instagram at Animation Station Podcast, on Twitter at Animate Podcast, Facebook and Tumblr, Animation Station Podcast. All of our episodes are available on iTunes, Stitcher, Podbean, Google Play, and on our website, animationstationpodcast.com. Be sure and catch our unlocked streams. Those are live every Wednesday at 9 p.m. Central Time, 7 p.m. Pacific. If it's another time zone, use Google to find it.
Good luck.